Unit 2, Becoming a Problem-Based Learning Learner. Lesson 4, Collaborative Learning and Conflict. In this lesson, we will look at the importance of collaborative learning, the advantages of collaborative learning, issues with collaborative learning, managing conflict. Problem-based learning is collaborative by nature and will require several individuals to work together during the process. Learning is a social process, and many learning theorists have emphasised this. Without interaction with a peer, mentor or others, our learning is limited. For example, a learner might read a history book and learn a sequence of events such as what occurred during the Second World War. However, by speaking to survivors and people who experienced life during the war, they will get a very different insight into everyday life and how people were impacted. There is more than one perspective on a situation. For example, you might have a particular way of doing your job that you think is efficient. However, you might go to speak to your colleague about a work issue and notice they have a different way of doing things. You ask them why they do it in this way and learn it saves more time. You decide to adopt this way of doing the process. There are many advantages of working in a group. Division of labour. You can divide tasks up rather than bearing the workload alone. Speed. You can often get things done quicker. Expertise. Different people bring different experience, ideas and perspectives that would not have been feasible if you were working on your own. Group ownership. It gives a social aspect to your work. However, there's often a negative reaction to group work. This is known as group hate. Group hate is often due to lack of effort, some people not pulling their weight, withholding information. Often people keep information to themselves because they see it as power or valuable. Conflict between personalities, or people having different work agendas and priorities. Sometimes people become scapegoats, where one person is singled out as bearing the responsibility. Group hate is often due to conflict. In teamwork and collaboration, there are going to be times when conflicts arise. When working in a learning team, the objective is to resolve conflicts in a win-win manner, rather than a win-lose. If one or more team members take a win-lose approach to resolving conflict, the whole team will suffer, and the real result will be lose-lose. Managing conflict and resolving conflicts are two distinct processes. Before conflict can be managed, it must be understood. One approach to conflict analysis and resolution is known as the 4 R's method, used by Engelberg. This method has 4 steps, each which summarise with the beginning of the letter R. Reasons. In this step, the causes or reasons for the conflict are explored and openly yet respectfully discussed. Reactions. In this step, team members look at their own reactions to the conflict. If those reactions are destructive rather than constructive, individuals can self-correct and take the necessary steps to recommit to team success. If the conflict is not resolved, what might happen? How might the team work together to resolve the conflict in a constructive manner? Which approach to conflict resolution could be used to effectively resolve the conflict? Once the team understands the conflict, it can then choose an appropriate approach to resolve it. There are 5 general approaches to dealing with conflict. Avoidance. Although avoiding or denying the existence of conflicts usually does not cause a dispute to go away, there are times when avoidance is appropriate in the team situation. If the conflict itself is not central to the work of the team, it may be best to set it aside so that the important work of the team can proceed. When the situation gets out of control and emotions are running high, avoidance is sometimes the best approach as well. In these situations, it's best to reschedule the team meeting so that people can collect their thoughts, approach the situation more calmly, and have time to put the conflict in perspective. Accommodation. When the accommodation approach is used, one person gives in for the sake of another getting along. This may be an appropriate approach when the person accommodating does not view the matter as important, or when it is more important that the group experience cohesiveness or harmony than for an individual perspective on the topic to prevail. Before becoming an accommodator, however, the individual team member must be certain he or she can live with the decision and won't regret having made it later. Competition. In a nutshell, competition may be best described as a win-lose style. That is, one team member may feel so importantly about the topic that he or she needs to aggressively pursue his or her perspectives in the hopes of persuading other team members to view the situation in the same manner. This approach is appropriate when a team member perceives alternatives being explored as being not practical, ethical, or legal. Compromise. Generally, when people compromise, it is to accept a middle ground position, i.e., one person gives up something for the sake of the agreement. By definition, a compromise only partially satisfies each person. This approach is often effective when teams have reached an impasse and are running out of time to attempt to resolve the conflict. Sometimes a compromise is the best solution that can be reached under the circumstances. Collaboration. In an ideal world, rather than compromising, people in dispute would collaborate to find a resolution that satisfies the needs of everyone involved. Collaboration requires creative and cooperative efforts. The primary roadblock to collaboration usually is the amount of time and energy it requires. Collaboration is generally effective when the team has sufficient time to fully explore the needs, perspectives, and preferences of all team members, and when 100% commitment from each person is needed to accomplish team goals. Conflict resolution processes. Before attempting to resolve conflicts, it helps if each person takes time to think rationally about the conflict and prepare for discussions. In the book Resolving Conflicts on the Job, authored by Wiskinski, the author developed the AEIOU model for individual use before engaging in discussions to resolve conflict. Each letter of the module stands for a step. Assume the other people involved in the conflict mean well. Express your own opinions. Identify what you would like to see happen. Express the outcome you would like to see worthwhile, while remaining open to another outcome that may satisfy your needs and concerns. Understanding. The agreement should be understood and committed to by each member of the team. Once each team member understands the conflict and has an idea about what possible solutions will meet the needs of a team as a whole, it's time to decide on a process to use to resolve the conflict. There are 3 general processes to consider. This does not require the assistance of anyone outside the team. Rather, the team members meet together to talk about their individual views on the topic that is the centre of the conflict, identify what is important to them, propose a solution that meets their needs, listen to what others in the team have to say, and attempt to reach an agreement. Effective negotiations are conducted in a win-win style and frame of mind. Most team conflicts are resolved through this informal process. This is a facilitated process of negotiation. If learning team members are not able to negotiate their own resolution, they could ask the mentor or facilitator to assist them with the discussions. Sometimes the facilitator can be used as a behind-the-scenes resource. That is, the facilitator might be able to help individual team members see the strengths or benefits of the proposal other team members are making. The facilitator can share insights about an effective approach to the discussions or about other possible solutions the team might not have considered. If, however, these behind-the-scenes efforts are not effective, the learning team could ask the facilitator member to meet with them in order to discuss the conflict and help them reach a solution. In mediation, the facilitator member does not have the decision-making power. Rather, he or she is a neutral person who focuses on the process of the discussions and helps the team focus on issues rather than personalities, and on the future rather than the past. Only when learning teams are unable to resolve their own disputes should the facilitator member be asked to assist. Arbitration. This is a process for resolving conflict, but is one which virtually is never used as a way to resolve learning team conflicts. It is a last resort and a way to achieve a decision when the team is at an impasse and are not willing to come to an agreement on its own. The arbitrator is asked to make a decision for the team. Arbitration is a win-lose approach. There will be winners and there will be losers, since the arbitrator is asked to decide whose approach or idea is the right or the best for the team as a whole. Clearly, all members of the learning team will need to agree to abide by the arbitrator's decision. Although this is a possible approach to conflict resolution, it's not a practical approach to team conflicts. It can lead to division and erode team morale and cohesiveness. Please read the following resources.